Oh, what up, peeps? It's your girl, Josh, come back to you from Real Takes. Today, it's that time. It's movie news time. Last weekend, I was enjoying a long weekend with some dear friends of mine, put in some, downtime for myself, and I was much needed. I just needed to hang out with some friends, some good food, good drinks. But I was also thinking, looking forward to getting back to doing my weekly news with you guys, see what's happening, popping in all places of Hollywood. So with that said, I have quite a bit to discuss. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So the first order of business I have we'll be discussing will be about Joaquin Phoenix. We have some pictures that are now out showing, well, actually one in particular picture with him in regards to his slimming down for the upcoming Joker movie. We don't have much longer till they start production. I think it's either next month or so. And he does look very slim in the actual picture that has been posted of him. He was out and about, on the streets, and somebody snapped a picture of him. You can see the nice frailty and thinness of him. I know he's working on some other movies that are coming out this fall where you see, of course, he has a little bit of extra weight. So to see that he's basically getting ready to be in the thick of the movie and look the part, this is a nice little added bonus. Now, I'm excited for the simple fact, like I stated before, hearing about this because I didn't know we were going to be getting a Joker movie that was separate from us knowing about Jared Leto playing Joker, of course, in Suicide Squad, and him having his own standalone movie as well. And then overall, honestly, from what I had heard, knowing about his Joker when he did Suicide Squad, the first one, he looks more like how the character is shown in regards to the comics. Now, I know there's going to be a different take standalone with the one that Joaquin is doing, and a lot of people are looking forward to this one with the simple fact that the people on board to do this, Todd Phillips being the director, also we have producing Martin Scorsese, and then the casting is on par. Of course, Joaquin. Then we have Robert De Niro plays the father. We have Frances Conroy who plays the mother, and then we have Zazie Beetz. And I think we have another person I think that's come on board, and I cannot verify. Yes, Mark Maron. I wrote it down. He's actually had success on the show called Glow that's on Netflix. So I'm actually excited for the casting with this. So that makes me even more hyped. And him, of course, trying to look the part adds a little bit more excitement to the role as well. Now, I've been hearing little wordings about them doing the Joker movie, of course, because this is slated for next year, October of 2019. So we have a little ways away. This gives them time to make sure, the character and the way they're telling the story from this particular one is done very well. One thing I can say about Joaquin that I love is a lot of the movies that he's picked over the years are very eclectic and distinct. He's very well known as being a very good method actor and getting involved within his characters. He's like a couple other actors that are, very well known for that, Jared Leto being one of them. So it's quite fitting him doing a Joker movie, and then, of course, Jared being able to eventually have his own standalone. Now, I'm excited because they have been talking about them doing these kind of standalone movies with the villains. They're going to be changing the symbol and the label of the DC is going to be either DC Black or DC, what is it, DC Dark. And I don't know where I was that I didn't know about this, so I'm still learning a couple of things that are coming out forth with DC with that, being that they're trying to do more type of standalone films with a lower budget, but definitely having a wider way of showcasing the storyline, whichever. So it's not considered too much of a big blockbuster, which is fine with me. I'm hoping with the Joker movie being kind of like that, that'll be a nice little way to parlay, with what they have in store for the other movies that we're going to be looking, forward to seeing in the next couple of, year or so coming into 19 20, the things that I discussed a couple of weeks back with some other things, that DC has lined up. So I'm excited, looking forward to, seeing other people on the set. I want to see De Niro in character. I want to see Zazie Beetz. I just hopefully will get a couple of behind the scenes as the months go on going into this movie. I'm curious to know how long production will be on this, since they'll be starting it sometime going into the fall, since, it'll most likely maybe be finished up and wrapped up by early spring, since the movie does come out in October next year. So I just wanted to throw that out there, guys. And of course, like I said, it comes out October 4th, 2019. So I'm looking forward to that. So, but with that said, moving on. Now, I'm excited for this movie. Well, the one is coming up with these two particular ladies. They are starring right now in Crazy Rich Asians. That is Michelle. How do you say Michelle Ia? I hope I'm saying it correctly. My apologies. I don't want to butcher her name. And Aquafina. Now, since they're having such great success with Crazy Rich Asians this weekend I'm doing this right now. This is a Sunday, so This is actually what 22 million they've made, and now total at what 111 now, from what I'm mistaken. That's the amount of money they have made so far with this movie, and that's great. I think going into their third weekend, in the theater. So I'm excited for the ladies, and I'm excited for this particular movie as well. I'm looking forward to the new movie they're working on. Let me get the title right. This new movie will be called Everything Everywhere All at Once. This is supposed to be some sort of, original action movie. It's going to be directed by a group of guys that call themselves the Daniels. Now, they are named as Dan Kwan, and we have Daniel Schneider. So I'm looking forward to this. They did a movie called Swiss Army Man. I'm not familiar with that movie. I'm going to have to get familiar with their work. They're known for doing stuff that's a little bit out of the box, whichever, and all that. And they have a nice little following of people who actually enjoy their work. So I'm going to definitely have to get acquainted with their work, since Michelle Aquafina will be on board to do this movie, collaborating now once again. There is rumors that it's a possibility that we're going to have a Crazy Rich Asians Part 2. So at least we know they'll probably most likely be working together again. But this is going to be the next thing they're going to probably do first before the consideration of the sequel for the movie. So I'm actually excited now. They don't give too much detail in the actual premise of the movie. I was looking for that, but I didn't see that. But I'm excited because Michelle, she's a great actress. She's been in quite a few movies. She's a veteran. I can name a couple of franchises: James Bond, Kung Fu Panda, Guardians of the Galaxy, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, just to name a few. Now, Aquafina, she's known as being a rapper turned actress, and she did a great job in Ocean's 8. I enjoyed that movie, and her scenes were very hilarious and funny. And of course, her being in Crazy Rich Asians, she's hilarious in that too. So she does have that good comedic timing, which I'm enjoying. And for somebody who's fresh out the gate, not having a background really in acting, she's kind of catching on very good. And I'm actually happy for her. She's hilarious. I watched a couple of her interviews for the press junket she did for Crazy Rich Asians, and she just seems like she's just a down-to-earth, chick, hilarious at times as well. So I'm actually excited to see her and other things. I'm going to keep up with her work. So I'm looking forward to this. It doesn't give us a date. I was looking to see if they have any idea if they're getting ready to start production either at the end of this year or early next year. So if I know more about this movie, as you all know, I will let you all know as time goes on. So, but with that said, I'm actually excited about this movie that'll be coming out in November for us. It comes out early release, I think, in LA, New York in October, but we'll get the full wide release in November, and that's Suspiria. Now, I'm excited because, of course, when I did my reaction like a week or so ago for the new one by Luca Guadagnino, this is based off the one that came out in 1977. I stated I saw this in my early 80s when I was a young teen. I want to say 9 or 10, and it did creep me out a lot. I shouldn't have been watching scary movies, but kids, rebel and do things, whatever. And I paid the price because it really kept me up a couple of nights with the nightlight, like I stayed. But I'm looking forward to seeing his reimaging of this movie. Now, the thing that they're stating now with him being at the helm of this, now this is being a remake that's 41 years later in the making, he is talking about possibly a post-credit ending that could possibly garner the thoughts of maybe a sequel or possibly a prequel. Now, I'm not sure how I feel about the sequel aspect of this, but a prequel would be nice because I see it from the standpoint of wanting to know about the characters, of course. And let me make sure I note this right. Okay, they said in the event the Suspiria becomes a box office success, it appears that, Guadagnino already has plans in the mind for a follow-up. During an interview with Deadline, the director confirmed the Suspiria includes a post-credit scene that serves as a setup for another movie. Like I said, we don't know if he wants to make it a sequel or a prequel, which is really nice. We could play however he wants to do this. He says naturally he avoided going into specifics about the scene other than to say it shows a character looking forward towards something, and I think it would be interesting to know what that is. Now, I will say this. He does also discuss this in the one. I'm going to read his full, comment. He says, at the beginning, we were going to title the movie Suspiria Part 1, but we didn't want to give the impression of something that couldn't stand alone. Truthfully, I'd be interested to explore the origin of Madame Blanc, Helena Marcus, and also the future of Susie Bannon in the world. So maybe we'll have to see how the movie goes. And that is exactly what it is. We have to see how the movie goes, how, the moviegoers will enjoy, how this all will, pan, out with that. But I really think I would like to see him really discuss Madame Blanc. I think I would like to see more of a prequel than the sequel. That would have me very intrigued. Okay, of course, this particular academy that's located in Berlin, and of course Susie goes there to join the the dance group, whichever, and become a part of this, and be at the helm, of this person who's in charge, of putting on together a nice, ballet group. How this came to be, why this particular area in Berlin, all these little things that are kind of going through my mind would be nice, and I think that would be very interesting. Whichever, plus it'll be kind of giving it that type of look again, like it's doing, like when I did the trailer, the colors, the visuals, because it looks so 70s the way it was done, looks beautifully done. So I'm actually excited at the thought of him considering this, and that's something that I'm glad he's throwing out there now, because like I said, once we see that ending, we'll kind of have an idea, but then once everybody's going to see it and see how everybody takes the movie and how well it does for the weekend it comes out in November. And I'm kind of glad it's in November, and I think early in November, that it depends on how well it does for the first couple of weekends. I always like to gauge a movie like this, certain movies, even if it's a horror, the first 2, maybe 3 weeks, and then, boom. So I'm curious about that, but I'm excited about this. It has me even more hyped to see the movie and to see how Tilda Swinton will do her part. Of course, Dakota Johnson, and of course, Chloe Grace Moretz. I'm excited for these 3 young ladies doing their thing in this movie. It's just going to be, it looks really good. The trailer was done phenomenally. The first one was very creepy because of the music, and of course, knowing that Tom York is attached to it for the music part adds a little extra flair, which is nice. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, you guys. I really wish it was coming out in October, but there's a lot going on in October already. So I'll just be grateful it's coming out, not soon after. So, I'm patient. It is what it is. So, but with that said, also, like I noted, it's coming out, I think November 2nd. So definitely at the beginning of the month, which is good. So that means all of November, it can make some good money. So I'm looking forward to that. So, but moving on. Also, I want to discuss, speaking of movies coming out, we have 2 movies specifically that are going to be coming out that are now going to be coming out in 2020. One of them was supposed to be coming out in 2019. That I'm surprised they pushed back, but nothing wrong with that. That is Top Gun 2. And of course, now we have a date for The Quiet Place 2. So I'm excited. Now for Top Gun 2, of course, the movie all about, Tom Cruise and Maverick. It was slated for July, and it must noted July the 12th, 2019. July seems to be always a good month for a lot of the movies that get, released for anything pertaining to Tom Cruise. So I was surprised when they switched the date. It's going to be now June 26th of 2020. Now, a lot of people say that will kind of make you worried about the movie. I'm not really worried about that. Tom Cruise is really good at working with some good directors and producers and all that, about putting forth the best. He is quite a perfectionist at the roles he does pick and the things that he does in his movies, being stunts, whatever, the script, everything has to be on par. And if that means they need the extra time, plus with this, we want very good, breathtaking aerial sequences. Well, remember the first one, which came out in '86, so long ago. It was done very well for its time. The movie, I think, was made on a $50 million budget. It made like over $400 million. So you can only imagine. And that was a large amount back then, because, it was one of those ones from Tom Cruise. When you talk about movies, that was one of those synonymous movies. Like, oh, yeah, that was a good movie. And I can agree, because I loved it when it came out, too. Now, the way we have technology and all that, now they have to up the ante to make sure the second one is good, because a lot of people thought at the time, and even me included, I thought that the second one came out maybe 3 or 5 years later. So to wait all these years later, over 3 decades later, that's why I'm like, you know what, let them have this extra time. The casting's coming together. We have a nice little star-studded cast. So I'm feeling very confident that this movie is going to do well. I know that recently I just found out that Jay Ellis has been added, to the casting. He's actually from the show, I want to say, God, I can't get the words out, Insecure on HBO. So a lot of people were kind of bummed because he didn't come back on season 3. But you see, he has, he's building, his film repertoire. So this is a good way to do it, and this is good to be attached to this. This is going to open up some more doors for him working on this with Tom, and that's a good thing. So I'm actually happy for him. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's all good. Like I said, added time makes, good for them to do everything they need to do to make this movie perfect. And I feel like in the end, as much as Tom Cruise wanted to come out, there's nothing wrong with that. So, from that part. Now, for Quiet Place, they stated the movie is coming out May 15th of 2020, birthday month. for me. So yay. Now, I did hear that John Krasinski will be attached, of course, behind the scenes because, as you all remember, and I'm sorry, spoiler alert, you didn't see it, you're living on the rock. It was a good movie. He had to do a self-sacrifice for his kids, so he's definitely not going to be in this. But I will say this: he said in a recent interview, he said the sequel could focus on other survivors. This is one of the things I said during my review. The way they left the ending with the mother and the daughter, and of course the son and the baby, and you can see the scenes of, look like to be more of these aliens from this alien apocalypse of sorts. It's like, where are they coming from? They're the only one in that specific secluded area. Where are the other people? They can't be the only people, and that's a good way to do it. We don't have to see Emily Blunt again. Nothing to say I love her. She's a great actress, but let's just go ahead and use another family or another set of people, and that would be nice because it would be something a little fresher as opposed to seeing the same people. Or they could show them getting away with the kids because now their home is not safe. That's a possibility, and they run into another family, whatever. They could do it that way. So that's a possibility. I'm just jumping out there, throwing out some things or my thoughts on ideas on that. So you never know. But I'm looking forward to this. And out of all the things, when I think about this movie, when I saw the trailer, it did grab me. It was done very well. Secondly, when I went to the theaters, the people were literally quiet. They didn't want to miss a part. I could hear people chewing their popcorn, drinking their soda. We were really engulfed and just mesmerized by this movie. And I tell you, that's a lot because a lot of people out here cannot contain themselves to feel the need to talk throughout a movie. So it was actually refreshing because you're going to hear at least one or two people here and there running their mouths, whatever, and all that. And you just wish, I'm be honest, well, shut up. I didn't pay to hear you. I paid to listen to the movie. So I look forward to this movie because I'll get to enjoy that again. I'm just saying. So yeah, basically, guys. So we have these two movies that are slated for the 2020. There's a lot coming out in 2020, but these two particular ones I'm definitely looking forward to seeing when they do come out. So I'm glad because I already said in the last couple of movie news review weekly things I've been doing how a lot of stuff is already slated for 2019. So if that means I have to push it, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm here for it. I love when I have options. So, I got the horror and I got the action. You can't go wrong with that. Speaking of action guy, Dwayne Johnson, he has been slated. I have a couple of things to discuss about Mr. Johnson. One in particular that he's actually excited. He's been trying to do this earlier in his career, a movie titled The King. Now, let me get it correctly because I wanted to make sure I did my research on this. The name is considered Kamehameha the Great. He is considered the king of the United Warring Hawaiian Islands, which was founded back in the Kingdom of Hawaii back in the 18th century. The Rock wanted to portray, like I stated early on, but he was new to acting. He had to flex his muscles and get a lot of the acting credit behind him so he can get really just better at his craft. And I'm kind of glad because it probably wasn't meant to come out at that time. And in the end, I'm kind of glad because the director he has for this is a great director, and that's Robert Zemeckis. I'm so happy to do this type of movie. And you're telling a story, a true story. This is best to be with a very critically acclaimed director, and they couldn't have picked a better one. There's many of them out there, but he's at the helm of one of my top, and within my top 10 list of best directors. I'm happy because he has quite a few things he's going to be working on, things he's worked on. I mean, I can go back to the Future. I mean, you can go in, what is it? What Lies Beneath, Forrest Gump, what is it? Castaway. He has a movie coming out this year called Welcome to Marwen, which I'm so excited to see. I just was tickled to know he was attached because now I'm definitely on board to see this when it comes out because I can only imagine how good. This is one of those movies for Dwayne Johnson after putting in all the years he's been doing this, what? Between 15 and 20 years he's been doing acting roles. Remember he did The Scorpion King? Yeah, I'm trying to get my math right. This can put him, honestly, where it gives him a chance of being an award season contender with this particular movie if it's done really well, which I feel very confident to saying that. And being that Zemeckis was attached to movies like Braveheart, what's another one? Of course, Forrest Gump, Tom Hanks winning for that. I feel like he definitely is very happy to have snatched up Robert Zemeckis, and that makes me very hyped and excited for him and this actual movie being made. So I'm looking forward to seeing who else will be cast and just seeing, what he's going to look like in character will be nice to see. Whichever, he's just staying busy. That's one thing I say about Dwayne Johnson. He's a consummate professional. He's down to earth. He's a cool guy. Very good at building his craft, building his brand. He's just that brother stays busy. I mean, I follow him on Instagram. He moves from one movie to another. I put it like this. He needs to stay working out because he needs to have all the energy to do all these movies back to back. So I'm kind of, he takes his breaks, but it seems like it's a quick break and he's right into the next movie. So, moving from this one, speaking of still more Dwayne, I wanted to discuss this because I did the trailers, of course, when these came out around Comic-Con, them discussing Shazam. Now, him wanting to play the DC villain, Black Adam, a lot of people were hoping he would be attached to that. Come to find out he's not going to be attached to the movie, per se right now. He's only in the role of being the producer attached to the movie. Now, other people are also talking about him being attached to maybe Suicide Squad 2, but since that's been pushed back, going, to production in November of 2019, we have a ways. That won't come out till 2020. So who's to say he'll even be attached? It's a possibility he still can be, but since Will Smith will be doing a couple other movies at the time, that's why it's being pushed back. He's working on Bad Boys 3 and Braid 2. So, I'm going to let him do what he got to do. That can wait. No offense, but yes, I want my Bad Boys 3. So, I'm excited, to know that he definitely still wants to do that. He does. And speaking of that, he definitely had an interview recently where he discusses, let me read what he said, quoted, Black Adam is definitely happening. We're actually very deep into the script on it right now, which is coming along really well. I'm really excited with the story we've crafted. Look, I've always been a huge comic book fan. I've always had this dream. I've always wanted to, you kind of have like these goals of like, one day I'll love to be able to do this and make a superhero movie was definitely always one of my dreams. Didn't know that. For the longest time, you kind of have this living superhero in Dwayne Johnson. So I've always was trying to figure out what's the perfect character that will kind of fit him and his look, whichever. And his build, and that does. When I post this picture, as I'm discussing this, yes, he does have the look and the build for this. Excuse me, and that was the producer, Haram Garcia. Excuse me, he's the one that made the notation in regards to how he feels about Black Adam. I'm excited because I'm really trying to understand when they're planning to do this. Script is working on now. Okay, we haven't saw him to 2019, so I'm trying to think. I want to think we'll get the reveal maybe with Suicide Squad 2 is a possibility. Shazam, if it does very well, comes out in April of next year. Who knows? If they do a Shazam 2, I don't know. I'm reaching, but I would want to feel more so Suicide Squad 2 is when we might get a little look at him. We'll have to see, because if they work on a script, we have to figure out, is it going to be a standalone or are they going to have him attached to something and then eventually work him into his own? I don't know. Now, we'll have to see, but I know he's definitely still a part of wanting to do this one. He wants to do a particular superhero, and he wants the one from DC, which is a nice thing because that's interesting to me. A lot of people think, oh, he could have done one with Marvel, but he picked DC, and that's a good thing. I always say I like both. I'm not here to talk about one is better than the other. Marvel is, of course, up on higher in regards to the consistency they're putting out for the roles they're doing for all the different casting for all the different characters, whichever. So they're right there. DC's trying to find their footing, like I said before, and they're slowly building it, whichever. They're not going to be at Marvel no time soon, but they're getting there with what they're trying to do, and I'm here for it. So I'm glad that Dwayne has picked one that is a DC, so that's great. So it's one more, we can add to, the list of all the different characters that could be portrayed onto the big screen. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, speaking of Dwayne, now this is one I'm not looking really honestly forward to. I was kind of taken aback when I heard about this one. And this has to do with Big Trouble in Little China. Now, they're stating it will not be a remake, and that's a good thing because there's no way he could even find a way to replicate the character that Kurt Russell did. There's just no way. I was kind of like, why? Those are one of those cult movies that I feel are just not touchable, but there's always something out here in Hollywood. They feel the need to take a lot of stuff they feel the need that needs to be remade. Some I don't mind, I can back, then others is just like, really? Because honestly, the script has to be right and the casting has to be on point for us to really feel like, okay, all right, I'll bite my tongue. Okay, they did a good job. Just like I felt about when I'm doing Stephen King's It. They did a great job with that. And now we're waiting for part 2 to come out next year. So I was here for that. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Now I will read, it says, now this is how they stated this. I'm going to read exactly what they said. He says he does explain that it will continue the story of the original. Now, if you all remember, there was a creature that was shown within the beginning of the movie, whatever. It's stowaways on Jack's truck when they were leaving at the end of the movie. So I'm assuming from there, that's what they're referring to about them, continuing the story from that part, because that's right. All of them were not killed. And I do remember that scene. So that's fine. If that's where they want to go, then fine. I'm assuming this particular creature, whatever, and all will end up somewhere else. But then, okay, another thing. The years' times that have lapsed and passed. Is this going to be present day? Are they going to make this look more like it's something done closer to the time the movie came out? How is it going to look? Just color wise, visual, cinematography, that plays a part as well. So I just need to see exactly, besides Johnson, who else is going to be cast in this movie. What kind of course, the technology will be differently, whatever, and all that. The CGI will be a little bit different. So that's going to be something interesting to watch, to see how they're going to do all those particular scenes, with all the type of supernatural, beings or whichever, which will be very, very good. I know that, Dwayne will make sure they're hiring the best ones to, to bring forth the overall look and visuals of it all, whichever. So I'm just not sure. I don't know, you guys. We'll have to see. So, but yeah, I need more. I need more, and I need to know who's going to be directing this, so that's another thing, because it doesn't state exactly who's on board to direct just fine, because I was looking at that, and I don't have that just yet. So we'll have to see who's going to come on helm, and then from there, once I know more and discuss that, hopefully whoever the director is, if their body of work is anything that I'm fully aware of in certain movies, then I might, open up and like, okay, we'll see how it turns out. So, but with that said, moving on to another reboot. This is one I've been talking about off and on for the last couple of weeks, is the Chucky. Now, getting a little bit more information about what's rumored to be the overall synopsis of the actual movie and with how Chucky's supposed to be portrayed. And I'm going to read this. This comes from Comic Book, and it says the origin of Chucky will be altered compared to, of course, the 1988 film. Now, from what they're saying, the story is rumored to be about a possessed Buddy doll who is programmed to be a violent and have zero limitations by a Chinese factory worker named Chen. Chen is then said to have killed himself after reprogramming the doll. Now, if you all remember the original one, Charles Lee Ray was put his soul into the good guy doll, whichever, and all with some voodoo, whichever. Prior to him, the cops, which was on the scene, and he's getting killed or dying, whichever. So I don't know how I feel about the premise of that. But I did discuss how they talked about that. We were trying to figure out how they're going to do it. So I talked about how it's not going to be just the one kid, Andy. It's going to be a group of kids. So I'm assuming this is one of these ones at a factory that's going to be blended in or whatever, and all that's going to show up somewhere, whereas a group of kids, whatever, and all that, one of them, is going to look totally different now. I don't know if it's going to look more electronically looking, whatever, a larger or different distinct features as opposed to the good guy doll. Let me just put it like this. I'm looking forward to seeing the reveal of how this doll is going to look. That'll give an idea. And I'm going to tell you like this. They might be trying to keep it under wraps because we're still in the beginning stages, but I'm going to tell you, if it doesn't look like it's going to be something that's really creepy, a lot of people ain't going to be down for it. Mind you, we still have to worry about them having the TV show that's supposed to be coming out soon as well. And I'm still not figuring out how I'm going to feel about how they're going to do a TV show. How long is this? How many episodes? How many seasons do they foresee it, being able to continue the story, because they have to look at all of these areas of doing this Chucky TV series show if they really want people to tune in and watch this. Also, what plays a big part, what particular cable channels is going to be on. Maybe what, Sci-Fi, A&E, AMC, TNT, what channel? Is it a channel where everybody will be able to watch it, whichever, because not everybody does cable channels, so just so many different things to discuss with that, whichever, but I don't know. The more I do hear about it, the more I'm still not sold and also, I'm still wondering exactly if Liv Tyler is actually coming on board. There's rumors that she'd been, presented, about a possible role in this. We haven't heard anything if she said yay or nay on board. Who else is attached to this? Who are going to be the kids? If they started casting for the kids, so it's like I'm going to still need more. Even though you're giving me a premise for this movie, I need a little bit more to see, and hopefully we'll know more going forward. I want to know definitely if Liv is on board. I also want to know who's really directing this to know exactly what's happening. So yeah, I'm still I'm still iffy on that. So like I said, more and more, if I learn more and I'm liking what I'm hearing, then I'll be for the actual movie. I'm not here for the TV show. I'm really not feeling that. I'm just going to be straight honest with you on that one. So we'll have to see how that pans out, you guys, with that. So, but moving on now, another thing I'm looking forward to that's on the creepy factor is Guillermo del Toro's Scary Stories. I'm excited because I know this is based off of like a trilogy novel, novel stories that he is, I think, partly a co-writer on this particular stories, whichever. Now, I don't know too much about this. I had to do a little bit of research on this, whichever, but I'm excited now for the director who's attached. His name is Andre Vidal. I'm happy because he did one of these horror movies that I really enjoyed. It's called The Autopsy of Jane Doe. That was a really good movie. He's also did Troll Hunter. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing his vision come to life. And of course, Del Toro being a producer with this. Now, I will say this. We have the full cast of the kids. Andre wanted to make sure he found the perfect casting for these 5 individual characters who are going to be a part of this movie. Now, the names of them, and I wanted to get them all in here. The first one being Zoe Margaret Coletti. She'll be the film's protagonist, played named Stella Michaels. Then we have, go down the list, Austin Abrams. He's from the show The Americans, which is a good show. If you all don't watch it, you need to go on that. Natalie Ganshorn, excuse me. She's a part of something called Make It Pop, Wet Burn. I'm not familiar with that. Michael Garza, he was in Wayward Pines. Love that. I remember him. Gabriel Rush, he did the Grand Budapest Hotel. Remember that. And then Austin Zazir, he was in Fist Fight. Hilarious. And that's basically the casting. I'm going to note all of them in here somewhere. I'm looking forward to them really discussing this story. From what they're saying, it says the Scary Story Ensemble also includes whichever. It says the perfect group of actors to help us realize the film's most terrifying adaptation that we could ever conceive. I like that already. Just hearing him make that notation like that speaks volumes to me, and I'm looking forward to it. Plus, to know that Del Toro basically had been attached to this for a little while. They were waiting to get financing and funding, which came around April. So I'm kind of glad. And I think after he won the Oscar for Shape of Water, one of my favorites, that kind of helped push certain things through the door to finally get this off, with some footing and some, legwork. Now they can kind of move forward with the actual movie adaptation of this to get this stuff, rolling. Now, the full name is called Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark Movie. That is what it stated. So I'm looking forward to that. Plus, I know Del Toro's working on something else that was called 10 After Midnight, which is supposed to be coming out on Netflix. I'd heard about that. I'm excited for that. Netflix just doing their thing, and I love that he's attached with them as well. So I'm looking forward to learning about this. Like I said, I'm not familiar with this. Anybody can comment in the comment section below, let me know a little bit more about these scary stories. I'm looking forward to seeing this. I don't have a date from when it says production starts, so hopefully we'll know something soon. It's supposed to be starting very shortly, hopefully, if not later this year, early next year. I don't know when it's slated to come out. Is it next year in 2019 for this movie, or is it going to be 2020? So when I know more about this particular movie, I will let you guys know. I'm definitely looking forward to knowing more about this one. Now, speaking of horror, this is one of my favorite franchises, literally of all time, especially in the sci-fi horror genre, and that is the Blade franchise. Now, word has been out that Wesley Snipes has been teasing some upcoming projects with Blade Universe, and I'm excited about that because since Marvel's been doing their thing, they were one of the first ones that we got to see early on, besides Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, whichever. And I'm excited because, of course, loved Blade 2. Blade 3 had its moments, and I'm a fan of Ryan Reynolds, him doing his thing, just some of the comedic timing throughout the movie. Of course, Jessica Biel did her thing, whichever, but the story on that one was just very lackluster. My favorite out of all 3 of them is Blade 2. That one was the best. Luke Goss was awesome. The fight sequences, everything was done just wonderful from beginning. That's one of those movies, honestly, if nothing else was on or if something was on and I just wanted to watch it, I pull that DVD out and I just get to watching it again because I can watch it all the time. I mean, you just couldn't beat that. Now, I'm looking forward to him because he's been, from what he's putting out there, he's stating they've been in talks for the 2 years with Kevin Feige's people and his team about what they're trying to do with Blade 4, possibly Blade 5. Now, I don't know if this is something that's going to be a standalone movie again, or they're going to find a way to bring this into the Marvel Universe. That would be awesome. Now, I'm all here for Blade 4. That would be great. I know he's been putting out there over the course of a couple of years how he would like to, kind of reintroduce, Blade again, whichever and all that. You see Wesley most recently, he still can handle it. He can do his thing, whatever and all that. The guy has, the action, the prowess, of course, the fight, fight ability, it's doable. It's doable. So I'm hoping with them having these discussions, these meetings for the last 2 years that we had no idea about, that they're getting closer to the possibility of doing that, because that would be great. The first one, of course, came out in 1998. The second one, 2002, and I think the last one was in 2004. Yeah, so I'm just down for that. That would be awesome if they do that. So I'm really looking forward to knowing more, and hopefully we know some more coming up, because I know they have a lot of stuff on their plate anyway. We're dealing with Black Widow. We have Avengers 4 coming out. Of course, eventually we'll have another Ant-Man, movie, and of course another Black Panther. So there's a lot already in the plan, of course, and what you just can't go wrong. I can't keep up. Marvel just keeps the consistency and the time frames that they put out their movies is always consistent. They try to do at least two movies, or at least 2 or 3 a year, whatever, and all that, just to keep the flow. So hopefully somewhere between 2020 in 2024, hopefully Blade might come into the mix. That would be awesome. So, and I think for Wesley, he probably would love that, because that'll kind of put him back on the map. He had a moment where things were kind of down. He was down for the count, dealing with some personal matters, and now he was trying to build up on a TV show that was on NBC. I can't remember the name of it. Short-lived. It was pretty good. I was surprised it didn't last, but he's done a couple other independent films. But I feel Blade would be the one to kind of skyrocket that again, being under the helm of Marvel, and then can work into other movies that he can start doing, so he can get back out there, and do his thing, whatever, because he's a great actor. So I'm hoping, that does work out. So, but with that said, moving on. Another remake. I tell you, buddy, you guys, I should have remake tattooed from the amount of stuff I discussed right now. But this particular one, I'm not very excited, but I'm kind of getting there a little bit more now. They've added a particular casting that I'm excited about, is Pet Sematary. We are finding out they finally casted a person to play Zelda. If you all remember Zelda, it was played by a man in the original one. His name, let me get his name. It was Andrew Habatsek. He did a great job playing Zelda. Very creepy. Like I said, the first one was so good, it's so creepy. That's why I'm just like, I don't know how I feel about the remake, but I'm going to give it the benefit, because I'm happy with the casting. We have Jason Clarke, we have Amy Seymetz, and we have John Lithgow. Once I heard John Lithgow came on, I was very excited. Now, for the person playing Zelda, let me do this correctly. Her name, she's a newcomer. Her name is Alyssa Brooke Levine. She is only 13. Now, if you recall Zelda in the original one, it was a gentleman much older. So, and if you all recall, this character, gave quite a few scary moments. Oh, yes. The look of Zelda was so freaking creepy to me. Now, and you all recall, she suffered from spinal, meningitis. So you remember how she was having some of the issues where she was lashing out, whatever, and all that. Very creepy, right up until her death. And she was in a room, whichever. She was, of course, Rachel Creed's sister, So, yeah, newcomer, I'm thinking, never done anything. So that's going to be interesting how they're going to make her look, the overall visuals of her character in those scenes, because Andrew did a very good job. I'm curious to see how they're going to play her up in this movie now. This has me a little intrigued. So I'm curious about it a little bit more now. Now, this movie now is slated to come out in April of 2019. Now, you've all added this part, so hopefully by maybe December, January, they finish this so they can properly edit it, whatever, and all that. And we'll probably by January or February, we get a trailer for this, because I've been talking about this really since early last year. Them talking about doing this remake, and we're finally on board with the overall casting, which I talked about a couple of months ago. So now with John Lithgow being the last one, and now we're finding out about the sisters. So I'm just curious to see how this is going to really play out. But I said I want to see some scenes from the set. They might keep it really under wraps for us to not see anything right now, but I really am hoping we do get to see. But I'm glad we don't have to wait till April of 2020. They're saying, because I really wish they should have waited closer to Halloween to come out next year, whatever, make it a little bit more creepy. But they're probably afraid something else will come out that well, actually, it will be around that time. So they're probably like, nah, we don't want to do that. They'll probably get lost in the shuffle. So, let me take that back. I forget it, part 2 comes out in October of next year. Let me keep my trap shut. Let's go with another month. If it's not too much horror around, then it'll be able to probably do pretty good, in the theaters, whatever, prior to us getting ready for all the summer blockbusters coming out. So, but yeah, guys, I'm looking forward to knowing more, seeing more. Hopefully we'll get some scenes or screenshots from the set to kind of give me a feel for how it's going to really look, and just see everybody in character, whatever, and then I might feel like I can come more on board with that. So we'll see. I'm warming up, you guys. I'm warming up to that. Speaking of horror and stuff coming out in October, Venom. Of course, you remember when I did my reaction, I literally wanted to cuss and I had to contain myself, and it was so good. But I will say this, I did not know this, but I'm happy to report this. I'm excited that Tom Hardy actually signed on to do 3 of the Venom movies. Now, that doesn't say he's going to do 3. It truly depends on how good this one does in October. I feel confident he will do very well in this one. I can see them doing a second one. That's the one that depends on if they're going to do a third one. Because like I stated before, a couple weeks ago, I said how during the Comic-Con, we did not see Michelle Williams, which we already know she's in it, but we didn't see Woody Harrelson. And from what I'm told, he's Cletus, in his particular character, a.k.a. Carnage. Now, I'm hoping this means, like, I've heard rumors and early rumors. Was it early this year? Maybe late fall. I said early this year. Supposedly somebody put out claiming it was leaked, whatever, how they thought the ending is going to be an ending where, the symbiote takes over him, whatever, and all that. And him being, of course, very crazy, psychotic, ends up, becoming Carnage, whatever, kind of leading us into what can possibly be a second Venom movie. So I am totally down for that, but I was really bummed when Woody was not there. I thought that was really done real cryptic there. You have the 2 seats sitting there, but they're not there. You all know at Comic-Con, they know who's already there. Why would you put those 2 seats out there? That was some foolery. I was mad because I really wanted him to be there just so I could feel like, okay, I feel hyped. Like, yeah, he's really a part of it, but he's only has a significant part, but he's still a part that we know for certain now. He's in it. So yeah, we're kind of left hanging in the air with that, but I feel like, yeah, he's in it because he is built on IMDb to be in it. So hopefully, like I said, he's probably at the end, like they said, one of those end credit scenes or whatever. We'll get to see how he plays out going to the second one. And also, a lot of people are really hoping for a crossover with him to have a fight, with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. That's a ways away. I don't want to think about that. Excuse my phone, you guys. I'm just going to continue on, so just don't mind that. So I'm hoping that we will know more as time goes, if a possibility, because they want to do a sequel, and I really want them to. I feel very confident Tom's going to deliver. When I saw that last trailer, I was totally down for it. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this is going to turn out. All the special effects, the CGI. Some people complain about. Some people say it looks good. Oh my God, Venom looks tall. Oh, he looks great. Oh, he doesn't have the symbol on the front. He shouldn't have the symbol anyway. Just everything. From people comics. You have some people who don't even read comics, had all this stuff to say, whatever, and all that, but don't read it. That's why I'm one of these people. I don't read them. I'm researching. I'm hearing from other people comments, and I'm going with what I'm hearing from that. I can't critique something and try to give us so much negativity, whatever, when I don't even read the comic books. That I don't feel that's fair. And that's, the people who do read it, they can make those statements and all that because they know what they're talking about. So I'm kind of going with it as a learning curve for me, because this is one of those ones I'm really going to enjoy. Like I said, when Topher Grace did it, a lot of people, they just slammed it, they bashed it, whatever, and all that. They thought it was the potential, but it was like they were rushing it because he had that as one villain and I had another villain, and you're trying to give all this time to each individual. They didn't have enough to put into a 2.5 hour movie. So I knew that was going to turn out like that. There's no way you can do that. If they did a separate movie, if it had been 3 with just him in it, then it may would have worked out. But this one will get more of an origin story moving forward, and then going into, seeing how Venom's going to be dealing with Riot, seeing the other symbiotes, that I've discussed, whichever, Scream, Phage, just the other ones all together, because I think it's a total of, 5, whichever. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. But speaking of Venom still, word is out that Michelle Williams wants to do She-Venom, and I know that she's a part of the comic books, whatever, going back to the comics back from 1995, which I'm actually excited because she stayed far away from certain franchises like this for a reason. She's done many a work. The girl's been in so many movies. I've loved her really since I saw her in the first Species, and of course she did Dawson's Creek, and then she just worked on her plethora of work. I can go down the list with her. Brokeback Mountain. What is it? Blue Valentine, Manchester by the Sea, just to name a few. So she's a great actress, 4-time Oscar nominee. So she was a getter, and for them to get for this particular movie, and I'm kind of glad. And it's really interesting that she really wants to do that. But I'm like this, okay, if they're going to do 3 and contract lead bound, whatever, and all that, hopefully that third one can introduce us to the She-Venom. That would be great, because if we're dealing with what's going to be happening with Riot and all that, and dealing with the little showdown with them, and then going to Carnage, whichever, and all that, then we can portray and then go right into the third one, and then do the reveal of She-Venom. That's just my thoughts. Whatever, that would be a good idea. You guys comment below. Let me know what you all think of as a possibilities of what they could do with the possibly 3, 2 more additional movies, sequels for Venom. I'd like to know your input with that. I'd be down for it, and I'm glad she is. She says she feels like her arc could be better, and I'm like, I agree. They said, of course, with the symbiote after she has an incident with Sin Eater, and I'm not familiar with that. Like I said, I'm still learning all about the Venom, universe or whatever. But I'm just kind of down to see the possibilities of her wanting to be attached, her even putting it out there, which is shocking, but her being, considering doing that. And then just seeing how well, that's like I said, October, this has to do well. There's not any other real competition at the beginning of October for them until Halloween comes out. For them to make some good money the first, I think, 2 weekends when it comes out before they snatch it up, and then, Halloween's out, and then it's like, okay, you're going to have a little competition, because, that's going to be some stiff competition. If they do good first 2 weekends right before Halloween comes out, and if they beat Halloween, that's going to be real interesting. So, I look forward to seeing it, and I think I'm probably end up seeing it at least twice, probably 2 weekends back to back, whatever, and all that, because that trailer really, it did me. I was on board. That last one, especially the part at the end with him in the store, talking about what he's going to do, turn in the wind. It was just so much fun. It was hilarious. So, but yeah, guys, we already know we have, about a month, maybe a day attached to it, October the 5th, right around the corner, guys. We have 1 month to go, and then the movie will be here. I cannot wait to see Venom. I've been patient long enough since last year when I knew Tom Hardy was on board, and this makes me excited. Plus, he has a couple other things coming out. He has the next Mad Max movie he's working on. He's working on a biopic of, movie coming out, whatever, is getting ready to start production. So he's a busy man too. So they got to find out if it does well, where they're going to fit the next one in somewhere in the mix of that. So I'm looking forward to that. So, but with that, moving on, let's just talk about all these live action coming out for DC. I cannot keep up with them. We got Dumbo. We have, of course, Lion King. Looking forward to that one. Aladdin. So looking forward to that one. Lady and the Tramp. I just can't keep up with all these different movies that are coming for live, but I'm loving it because DC's doing their thing. Now we have, of course, discussion of Little Mermaid, and rumors are circulating that Zendaya was, presented the possibility of taking on the lead role as Ariel. I have no problem with that. There's some other people I haven't, some thoughts with, that could fit the part too. I have another person in mind. I know some people, they're not sure how they feel, and I'm like, why? She has, of course, she got the acting part down. She can sing. The overall aesthetics is good. She has a picture. I'm going to post a picture of her with red hair that she posted a while back. She could do that. So she did the recent movie The Greatest Showman. Singing. Acrobatic. All these other things. So she has it in her to cover all these areas that can be checked off for her to do the scenes. Another person I think could play it, and she's an actress and she's a singer, a very good singer, beautiful singer, is Ariana Grande. Her hair, she's had her hair colored red. She looked beautiful. A little bit more close similarities to Ariel from the comic, animation. I just, it could either go either way. I don't know. Some people might put it out there. She could be considered as well. Yeah, I'm fine with either one of them. They might have somebody else who's not very well known they would like to consider. But the thing is this, the singing, because of course you all know from the animation, she sings in this, so the singing has to be on par. We don't want somebody else just doing acting and then somebody lip singing and it has somebody else's voice. I really hope they don't consider doing something like that. I want to stay true enough to the character to give us that courtesy. People who love the actual animation, which I was one of them. That's one of those on top with right up there with Beauty and Beast. Those are my two favorite that I love to watch all the time. We'll have to see. Now they said it's nothing stating fully if she's going to take the role. If it's rumored she was presented with that, whichever. She is of course working on Spider-Man right now, Far From Home. So I don't know what she is. She has another movie coming up that I heard she's attached to, a biopic of sorts. But I'm actually looking forward to her doing more so than this. So I don't know. She has quite a few things lined up. So we'll have to see. And then also, when are they having it slated to come out? That does play a part as well. So that's a lot to kind of take in to figure out what Disney's trying to do, because you can see they have this all lined up, whichever, to do these things, whatever. That's why a lot of them are pushed back an extra year because of all the stuff they have to do in regards to CGI, all the technology that's going to play a part in these things being this live action. I can only imagine. I didn't know anything about them doing a Dumbo, at all. I did hear about, of course, Lion King. I was so excited to hear about that. I remember Aladdin, being one of those ones which I'm looking forward to, because I know Will Smith already he wrapped up on that a while back, so I'm excited for when that's going to come out. So yeah, now that Lady and Tramp just recently been discussing who's coming on board for casting. So Disney's keeping a steady flow with putting these out, and they're all coming out probably within maybe one here and then the following year at the beginning of the year, so they all have them perfectly time placed, just a kind of similar how Marvel does with their stuff, strategically placed. So I'm excited. So we'll just have to keep I'll keep my eyes out to see if I hear anything else about this, because this is going to heat up. There might be some other people who might want to try to garner this particular role. They might still be seeing some other people, but they might like her so much after she did The Greatest Showman that they want to just present it to her before going out there doing a full-fledged casting. And that's always a good thing, and it's a good sign as well that they would consider doing that if that's the case, because like I stated, this is considered rumored. So I'm hoping I'll learn more and find out more. And if that's the case with her and she decides to come on, kudos to her, because that's a great grab to get this Disney movie in a live action, whichever. So, but I'm looking forward to knowing more about that. So, but moving on, the last and final, I'm excited about this one, to know that Hans Zimmer is now on board to do the music for Wonder Woman 1984. I'm happy, because let me tell you, when I saw that scene, and I wish they didn't put it in the trailer at the time, because this is one of these things I tell you I cannot stand, was the scene in Batman versus Superman when she shows up and they show that little scene at the end, whatever, and you hear that music. And that's distinct. That movie's music was not even made specifically for the scene, but that's where it was placed, and it was placed perfectly, because in the end they ended up using it for her movie, which was great, because that was her music. Anytime I heard it, I would think of Wonder Woman, and it was great because it stuck. And people wanted the soundtrack just for that, even though it was probably other music on there that was great too. But Hans Zimmerman has a body of work that is just out of this world. I mean, I can go through this because I wrote down some of my favorites, like Lion King, of course, Mission Impossible 2, Inception, Pirates of the Caribbean. I think he did recently Blade Runner 2049 as well. Yes. So yes, really I could go on. And so I'm excited that he's come on board to do this. That's a good grab on Patty Jenkins to get him to do this. I did hear that she kept a lot of her crew from the original one. Whatever. The only person didn't come on, I think his name is, let me make sure I noted this, because he's working on Aquaman, is Greg Williamson. He was at the helm of some of the work on the previous Wonder Woman. We can't do this because he's working on the movie Aquaman right now. So but that's fine. Hey, he's doing another movie that's attached to DC. Nothing wrong with that. So, but I'm looking forward to the music that he's going to bring in this, especially when they're showing the scenes of her, of course, with Chris Pine, when you see the reveal and she sees him, whatever, or the scene she's going to have, with the cheetah, just, oh my God, I'm so excited to see this movie. We have a ways to go. I'm just like so freaking bummed we have to wait till 2019, but I don't care. It is what it is. When it comes out in November of next year, that's going to make a rack of money. It's got some other competition, but it's going to hold its own. It's going to make money all that month. Definitely going into December. They picked the perfect month. I can't kid you with that. So I'm looking forward to seeing and just knowing more, whichever. But we have a long way to go before we even get a trailer. But the good thing I will say is I'm excited at the fact that since they're going to be using all this time, and Patty's going to definitely make sure she's doing what she needs to do to make sure, everything's done right, CGI effects, everything. So when this comes out and they present this at Comic-Con, which is going to be great because they will, that's going to give it added excitement and exposure for everybody to get even more hype. So when it does come out, yes, cha-ching. I know that one weekend, the first weekend it comes out, I'm probably going to see it Saturday and Sunday. I'm going to go ahead and see that. I've waited long enough for Wonder Woman. I always tell people, I said, I've loved the TV series with Linda Carter. She was just exquisite. I did the thing Halloween back in the day wearing Wonder Woman, all that. I loved her. And then when this finally happened, I was down for this. I love me some Gal Gadot, and I love that Patty Jenkins at the helm. And I'm glad she came back as a director again, because she already has an understanding of the character, so she can put forth, continue the story arc for Diana, aka Wonder Woman. So I'm looking forward to seeing this one. I'm looking forward to watching these ladies who are attached to this, Kristen Wiig, Natasha Rothwell, I'm just so here for it. So, but yeah, that's basically all I have to say about that. And that is all of my movie news. Now, speaking of movies, I'm looking forward to next weekend because I'm going to discuss it in detail. Two movies are coming out. I'm going to go see Peppermint and The Nun. I'll probably discuss just a little understanding the franchise of The Conjuring, and then I'll probably bring that up, whatever and all. I'm talking about some other movie news with James Wan. He's a busy man because he, of course, directed Aquaman. So yeah, quite funny how I'll probably go into that and parlay into this other stuff. So, but yes, you guys, I hope you all enjoyed this week's movie news. Comment below anything I discussed. I love your feedback. I love your ideas of what you all think about any of these things I discussed. And with that said, I will see you guys on the next movie news. You guys take care.